call this regular council meeting in the Village of Gramman to order at 7:30 p.m. I'm going to call on Councillor Turner for prayer this evening.
Dear God, we just pray tonight that you would make us mindful of the decisions we have to make for this community that we are privileged to live in, and we just ask that we would use our best judgment and guidance and direction in making these decisions for the betterment of our island, and we just thank you for that. In your name, amen.
Thank you. I don't have much for opening remarks tonight. We are just 3 weeks from our last meeting, so we have been focused, I think, on finishing up some items around the rural plan, and that's really been the focus over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So unless somebody else has something they want to chime in with, Councillor Sturgeon?
Yes, Madam Mayor. We're still standing last week, and sometimes you kind of wonder what's going to come across on TV. But personally, I thought everybody had done very well. I thought it portrayed our community in a very positive light, and I'm very pleased with it overall. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for that. I thought it was a very good episode as well, so appreciated everybody who took part in it. Anyone else? All right, moving on to disclosure of conflict of interest. I am disclosing on item 17.1. Is there anyone else declaring conflict? Hearing none, we will move on to adoption of the minutes that are in your package. There's the minutes of the public hearing of objections on January 6th, as well as our regular council meeting on January 12th.
Madam Mayor, I'll move for the adoption of the minutes of the meetings that we stated.
You heard the motion from Councillor Sturgeon. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Turner. Question? All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. Additions to the agenda. Under new business, we have to renew 2 members of the PAC for their 3-year term. We're supposed to do that at the beginning of the year, so I'd like to add that as 14.5. And in closed session, we have a financial thing for land for public purchase. It was a question relating to that. As well as a garbage trailer issue under financial as well. Oh, and for the operating fund, I'm already declaring myself out of there apparently. We have 2 items, Island Home Hardware, the January statement for $2,677.43, as well as Sullivan Sales for the 2024 Chev. And that is for $4,412.55. Is it on there? Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so we had the 1 addition for home hardware, 2 items in closed session, and the PAC term as 14.3. 14.5, sorry. Heard the motion from Councillor Boyd. Second? Seconded by Deputy Mayor Greenlaw. Question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. So that's additions to the agenda. No RCMP. Old business. 9.1 Gramman Minor Hockey Association, the NHL Legends donation. We had an informal discussion at our committee of the whole meeting, I think, as well, about maybe having a report back after the Legends game just to see how things went as far as donation-wise, to see financially if there's some need to maybe do something else or to see where we ended up. So we put that on the agenda, and I'm just, I guess, kind of looking at the treasurer to see if we have a way forward on that.
Sure. Yeah, we made a total today of all of our expenses. For the Legends, it cost us $35,929 to bring them here. And the Gramman Minor Hockey paid for all of that. we brought in $29,000, so we're pretty proud of ourselves. That was with donations, ticket sales, raffles, people paid to play, kids, we had 53 kids in the clinic that brought in money. We did a few fundraisers at the event, we had a 50-50. So we're only in the hole $4,699. So we are pretty proud of what we did.
Questions or comments around the table? Councillor Turner?
I would like to go back to the $3,000 donation we got towards the rink, and where it's money that was not allocated for anything specific. This seemed like a good cause to me, because especially with the work that was done in raising the rest of the money. And I can't remember who was our benefactor in that, but there was, I think it was 3,000, wasn't it, Chris? Okay, okay. So I would make a motion that we would use that $3,000 towards the NHL Legends.
You heard the motion from Councillor Turner. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councillor Green. Question?
So the $3,000, I'm sorry, I'm still playing a little bit catch up. The $3,000 was donated to the arena at large, like specifically for the arena.
It was completely out of the blue. We received a check. We didn't even know what it was for. In a little bit of research, we've come to find out it was from a foundation that locally that wanted to donate to the arena. So
No, it's donated towards the arena. Good for that.
Any other questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
Thanks.
Delegations or special speakers. Charlotte County Seniors Resource Center, we have Emma Keach here this evening, so welcome you up to the microphone and you should be good to go.
the presentation should be still on the laptop. So you just have to minimize the Zoom.
You might have to minimize Zoom, but Chris says it should still be there on the laptop.
I'm not sure.
Xander, if we lose you, just sign back on.
Should be good.
Thank you. My name's Emma Keach. I'm the manager of Charlotte County Seniors Resource Centre. I was here a couple of years ago. Councillor Boyd, you weren't. But so I'm very happy to be here today just to give you an update on how things are going. We are a nursing home without walls. We are under the umbrella of Passamaquoddy Lodge. But we do have a community coordinator here. So I'm just going to give you a quick. So November 1st, 2023, we actually officially began operations, and we're funded through social development. We realized Charlotte County is quite large in the Fundy Isle, so we realized the need for satellite offices. So in March 2024, we had applied to social development to have 2 satellite offices. In May, we opened a satellite office on Campobello, and then Gramanan was in July 2024. In April, we just signed a 5-year contract with social development, which means our services will continue expanding. We now have a community coordinator in Eastern Charlotte as well, and we look forward to we're going into our 3rd year of operations. Nursing Home Without Walls is becoming more well known and recognized, and people are finding us in all different ways. Self-referrals, extramural, social development, social workers, through different websites. This is the team. So there's myself, Carol Davison, who works for in St. Stephen, Angela, who's in Campobello, Shannon is our administrative assistant, Amanda is Eastern Charlotte, and brand new to us as of last week is Patty. Yay. I just would like to take this opportunity though to thank Sharon Kozaboom, who joined our team in July of 2024. Sharon, a dedicated, compassionate and hardworking individual, worked above and beyond. In December, Sharon retired, a well-deserved retirement. We will miss her, and we wish Deputy Mayor Fitzsimmons and her happiness, good health, and time to enjoy the things they love. And we thank her for everything. We do have an advisory committee who provides governance, oversight, and strategic guidance for the Nursing Home Without Walls program. They ensure alignment with program mandates, approve budgets, monitor outcomes, and service delivery. They also report to the Board of Directors for Passamaquoddy Lodge, and they advocate for program sustainability and support staff capacity. This is the current breakdown of clients per area. We are serving now 488 clients. As you can see, Gramanan, we have 41, and that's Gramanan Whitehead. The different programs that we're helping clients with are the following, but not limited to. We help clients apply for the Low Income Seniors Benefit, Workers Benefit, Property Tax Allowance, backdating of New Brunswick prescription drug plans, the Direct to Tenant Benefit, backdating of GI Guaranteed Income Supplement, fuel benefits. We have equipment we can loan out, backdating CPP. It is a community and client-driven program, so once a client signs up with us, we can see what we can help them with. These are particular to Gramanan and Whitehead, things that Sharon had helped people with over the last 2 years. In total, we've helped seniors across Charlotte County and the Fundy Isles access $1,156,198.98. One of the programs that we do assist with is the home repair programs. We've assisted 18 clients apply for these programs, and they're all in different stages. But here are some of the examples of completed ones: several steps, a roof, and plumbing. One client on Gramanan received a large amount of cost of plumbing through the coordinator's navigation. And this goes beyond just helping them apply for these programs. It means they can stay at home for longer and not have other service providers provide services to them. We do have a monthly newsletter that is distributed to our registered clients. The newsletter contains an up-to-date information on community events and available benefits. This newsletter is shared both digitally and by mail to ensure accessibility for our clients. As our client base continues to grow, we will be seeking future sponsorship from local businesses and community partners to ensure this remains a sustainable and valuable resource for those we serve. With a growing list of nearly 500, getting up to 500 clients across Charlotte County, we regularly receive feedback on how much the clients value this and look forward to it. In early August 2024, myself and my administrator, Yolande J., and at the time Minister Kathy Bacchus, had a conversation with Social Development regarding a pilot project to bring Meals on Wheels to Gramanan. Social Development had allocated us a budget of $50,000, which enabled us to purchase 3 freezers, one which the village has kindly let us have here at the arena, 6 coolers, cook hours, mileage expenses, and the cost of food to support this initiative. This program identified seniors who were current and non-current clients of Social Development and those who were experiencing food insecurity. A key feature of this pilot project was the removal of the 2 service criteria typically required for clients to qualify for Meals on Wheels subsidy through social development, making it a more accessible service. The first meals were delivered, The first meals were delivered on Thursday, December 19th, 2024, marking an important milestone in providing some essential support to seniors in the community. I just would like to also thank Coastal Transport for working with us to transport the food and to recognize the staff who have been so kind, wonderful, and helpful and supportive. Due to the logistics of transporting the volume of food, which actually is made at Passamaquoddy Lodge, and then we bring it over here frozen, we have limited to the amount of seniors we can serve at this present time. We've received requests to add more seniors, but with the current transportation, and we are operating at full capacity. To date, we have delivered 3,710 meals in the community. We have been in discussions with Lucretia and Mark Ferris, who will be moving to Grand Manan in approximately a month, and they have expressed interest in taking over the Meals on Wheels program. This transition would allow meals to be prepared on the island, making the service more accessible and allow for client base to be expanded and enable more members of the community to benefit from this service. So something we're working on. One of our biggest wins has been serving as a trusted landing pad and listening ear for individuals who are seeking information and support. When we are unable to assist, we ensure people are guided in the right direction. We deliver information in ways that are accessible to the community, whether it be written form, digitally, or through other formats, so no one is left behind. A core priority of becoming a nursing home without walls site was gaining a deep understanding of the population we serve. As a result of this work, we've been recognized as a strong example for future rural and remote sites, including being invited to present our approach to the Rural Ottawa Health Society. And I just would like to obviously welcome Patty, who will be our community coordinator for this area and for Whitehead and Grand Manan. Patty does have 30 hours bi-weekly, so not a full-time position, but I know that she's already been receiving calls, so just a very warm welcome to her. And thank you for having me here tonight. Is there any questions regarding the program?
Councillor Sturgeon?
Yes, thank you for all that you do, and I know Patty quite well, and I expect great things from Patty.
Good choice.
Never does anything happen. But speaking of Patty, is she the new Sharon, I guess?
Yes. She
Okay, great. and Sharon did excellent work as well. We appreciate all that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, maybe I would say, is there anything that you're looking for from us?
I certainly would like to take that away and think about it, and if there is something, I definitely feel I can approach you by all means.
I was
to
going to
do
say,
that.
and that was going to be my second
Yeah.
part, is for you and for Patty, who's here, if there is something that we can do to assist. I think we've said that, but it's an open door. Please reach out and we'll see what we can do if there's something you need assistance with. So,
Thank you very
okay.
much. That means
Alright.
a lot.
Chris, sorry.
Seeing how your freezer is located in our arena, which we have a full kitchen in, and if you're looking for an opportunity to doing meals locally, if you happen to have someone that moves here that wants to prepare them, like the mayor said, feel free to reach out, and
Okay.
I'm sure we can work
wonderful.
something out.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you.
3,000 meals delivered to Grand Manan is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's increasing demand for it, I think just speaks to, it is something we can do in that regard, so. Okay,
That's great. Thank
That's
you.
good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to suggest, since we're in the delegations and special speakers section, what if we move the bylaw discussion, the rural plan, up to there as well, so we can let Xander go? Xander's still there, is he?
We don't know.
I am still here, Rhoda.
We can't see you on our,
Haven't gone yet.
we can't see you on our screen, so you really are like a disembodied voice for us right now.
I'm a little under the weather myself, so I'm not much to look at today.
Thank you, guys. So, if it's okay with everybody, let's move that discussion up and we can let Xander go drink some Neocitrin and recuperate from his cold. So, Xander, maybe I'll just start by saying we had our public objection, the hearing on the 6th, I think it was the first Monday. We took the feedback from that. We had a letter from PAC. Council met with PAC during that interim and had a discussion about their concerns. We had a follow-up meeting with Xander, who addressed some of those concerns as well as some of what he's heard from the province. So I think he's got a bit of an overview for us, and then we can go forward and see what the wishes of the group are from there. So Xander, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Worship. I have a pretty brief presentation, just really going over the report and next steps. So let's see if I can find it here. Is that visible to everybody?
Yep.
Great. So yeah, it's very basic. I don't have a title card. Some of the changes that have been made, this is not since we've discussed anything, Council, but just I think as a result of those discussions, the accessory dwelling unit definition was changed to clearly allow them in any yard. That was something that PAC had asked for. And the distance that driveway access for transporting of excavated material from resource excavation uses, there's this buffer distance that was 100 meters from an existing residential use. You couldn't have that type of driveway. That's been reduced to 75 meters, which is something PAC also asked for. Some of the things that we talked about, Council, that I kind of put in the report, I think there were some questions. I know there were concerns around dimensional standards, and I will say that with the changes that I just mentioned, there's really no more changes that I could see making without no longer being able to recommend this bylaw to the province. I think it's like really this is kind of the bare minimum as it is. But some of the concerns are with the process of what happens, specifically around variances and how long the PAC process can take. So I do want to address that, and there are variances that do not have to go to PAC. Development officers like myself, like Judy, like Alex, we do have the authority to approve most types of variances without PAC. We have an internal policy, an internal office policy on this now. That was developed recently, just so we can be more consistent with this, because it does, the Community Planning Act provides development officers a lot of discretion to decide when things do or don't go to PAC, if we're authorized to approve them. But our internal policy is if there's clearly no impact to an adjacent property, I think that's very common with like you don't have enough frontage on the road, but you have enough lot area. In general, you have enough width. It's kind of one of those long driveway lots. Those, to be able to develop that kind of thing, typically those are things we would do in-house unless you have so many that you'd have like a ton of driveways right next to each other. But that's just an example. But I know that's one that folks on the island have wondered about. We can issue them when there is impact to adjacent property owners. If there's only kind of to the direct abutting neighbors, if the applicant can get a letter from those neighbors saying that they have no issue with the variance, then that is something that we would do in-house. It wouldn't have to go to PAC. There may be cases where the applicant cannot obtain consent, and in that case we would definitely have to send it to PAC so that polling can happen and that potentially impacted people have the opportunity to give their views on the variance. But there's no impact to adjacent properties if the applicant can say can provide us with letters saying all the other owners around them can consent to the variance where it might impact them. We would do that in-house, and it's a very quick process. We're mostly just doing our checks to make sure all the other things are in order, and then it really takes the same time as issuing a regular building or development permit. The PAC process can definitely take longer. It depends where you fall in the cycle. So I think a lot of the variances, especially around dimensional standards, if they're not going to be impacting neighbors, then they will take very little time to issue. But as these are the kind of base standards for everything, they really need to meet the provincial minimum requirements for frontage and lot area. The loophole for that, the minimum lot requirements, is the cluster development. And when I was talking with council last, I realized that it would be much easier just to draw a diagram of this rather than explain it in words, since there's been some confusion. But this picture is kind of your traditional subdivision. It's not really to scale, but imagine each lot is an acre. Given the location of the wetland on this property, that actually means you can only develop 6 lots, even though it's an 8-acre property. You have to have a fairly long road. Every property is using its own kind of area for septic and wells, so there's more clearing that's involved. So there's a lot more infrastructure and actually less dwellings that you get out of this particular scenario than you can get in a cluster development. So this is where 50% of the land is conserved. You still have to have the number of acres per dwelling unit, so 8 acres, 8 dwelling units, but there's no longer the requirement for each of those to be on their own individual acre. So this is what I mean when I talk about efficiency of development. So the road is about half as long. The amount of equipment that you're going to need to get that land ready is much more minimal. And in the end, you can even add these nice amenities like trails around the wetland. It's not a requirement, but it certainly makes a nicer development for people living there. And it should also be a cheaper development because there's just less involved in doing it. And you wouldn't even have to go through the subdivision process. So that's the cluster development concept. And the diagram I did, it's 4 units on each septic, but theoretically you could have, if you got the approval, you could have them all in one. There could be shared wells. This just seemed like the most realistic possibility for how this could happen. So that's the cluster development concept. Hope that makes a little bit more sense. In terms of next steps, council has met all of the Community Planning Act requirements. You've received views of PAC, you've held your public hearing of objections, and we sent this latest draft of the bylaw around to the provincial departments for consultations. There were some issues with the last one, and actually a lot of the issues, if we had made some of the changes PAC was looking for around lot sizes, things like that, the province would have not supported that document. But this one, they are 6125, they're very supportive of. They do not see any issues with it as it is, so I feel very strongly that if council wanted to move ahead with passing the rural plan as it is, the province would approve it. One note I'll make, there is a section 110 of the Community Planning Act which deals with PAC's views. If you are not going to take effect to all of PAC's views, basically if you're not going to do everything that PAC says, and this current draft has not done everything that PAC requested, and I think I've been fairly clear as to why, hopefully. If it doesn't do that, a majority of council members, not just a majority of quorum at a meeting, are required to vote in favor of the rural plan at its final reading. One other matter that came up with council, Councillor Green had noted somewhere that there, in Nova Scotia, there was maybe a requirement that only council members who are at the public hearing should be voting at final reading. I did a little homework. It turns out the Nova Scotia equivalent of the Community Planning Act has that requirement in it, but even though New Brunswick doesn't, there's enough case law here that that would be my recommendation as well. So for the final reading, if council is going to move ahead, make sure it's a majority of council, not just quorum, and that all those people voting either in favor or against. It goes the other way too. If council does decide to vote against this at some point, the last voted down in last reading, councilors who are not at the public hearing should not be participating in that. So hopefully that explains a lot. But I'm happy to answer any further questions if there are any.
Questions or comments for Xander? Councillor Sturgeon?
I just want to say, Madam Mayor, pictures are worth 1,000 words, and they did explain it quite well, so I just want to thank you for taking the extra effort for that.
Thank you, Councillor Sturgeon.
Anyone else? So I guess the question is, we've done the first reading of the bylaw back in December, I believe. Bylaw, whatever, I'm just looking for the number. So I guess the question for council tonight is, do we want to proceed with the second and third reading tonight? I'm assuming, and Xander, I'd be looking for a little bit of guidance from you on this, that the changes that we have that you have suggested, that PAC has suggested, that we have accepted, are not significant enough from the December 1st reading that would require a restart of the process?
No, they do not require a restart. They should be accepted by at a reading. So basically, say your second reading, say the amended version of the document that we have before us.
Okay. I also hauled up our minutes of the public hearing, and so we are fortunate that the 5 people who were at the public hearing are also here in attendance this evening. So thank the 5 of you for that. So I guess that's my question now. What is the will of the group? Do we want to?
Madam Mayor, I would like to proceed myself personally.
Okay, so Councillor Boyd.
Can I just confirm from you, Madam Mayor, as well as Xander, that you are, you think it best to be only councillors that were here for the hearing of objections? I mean, if that's the will of the group, that's fine. I've done a fair amount of work and talked to a lot of people on this, but if it's better for covering our butts, I guess, then I can recuse myself from the vote.
Yeah, it would kind of be a cover your butts kind of thing. Just in case the bylaw did get appealed, that is a possibility. Now, if you had the majority without if you don't matter in the end, sorry, Dan, Councillor. If that vote doesn't matter, then I don't think it would matter. But if that was like the deciding vote, if you were the deciding vote, it could be an issue.
Yeah, no, understood. And I get it. That's fine.
Okay, Councillor Green.
I would move that we proceed with second and third reading of bylaw 6125.
You heard the motion from Councillor Green. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Deputy Mayor Greenlaw. Question?
So
Councillor
do
Boyd.
I leave, or do I just sit here on my hands?
You
or?
just sit here
Okay.
and.
I'll scroll on social media as you guys do it.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Just keeping up with housekeeping, I wonder if we should retitle 6125 to 6126. Because typically the last 2 digits is the year that the bylaw was approved.
Are we okay with that adjustment?
If necessary.
Xander, is that okay?
There's no issues with that change at all.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. So now we have the reading in title only for the second reading. Xander, do you have the wording of that? You think it was on your last slide that you had, that you could share for us?
Oh, for the motion itself,
Yes.
I actually don't have a motion there. I would just say, you are proceeding to second reading by title of the, amended version of the bylaw presented to council at this time.
We do have a number,
6126.
Madam Mayor.
Yeah, that should be a specific amendment, to change the title from 6125 to 6126.
And,
Say that in a motion.
and Xander, we do that 2 separate times, correct, for second reading? and
We'll
then
do a
third
second
reading?
reading and then we'll do a third reading.
Yes.
Yes, now, as much as getting to third reading tonight would be great, I think unless you want to read the entire thing at third reading, the Local Governance Act requires you to post a notice on your website saying that you are going to be doing this by title only. It has to be on there, I think, for like 2 weeks.
Okay.
So unless you have done that without my knowledge, which would be great, probably should just do second, and we can come back with the, we can give you a notice tomorrow to put on the website before you do third by title only, unless you would like to read the entire bylaw out tonight.
I think we should make Dan do that since he can't vote on this if we're going to. That can be his participation. I would agree with that. I think the timing will be fine before our next meeting. So if we can proceed with the second reading tonight, then we can finish this off, hopefully with the third reading in 3 weeks. So I think we need to do 2 motions, though, Xander, based on what we have talked about. The first would be a formal motion to change the number of the bylaw from 6125 to 6126 to reflect the current year. If someone would like to make that motion.
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Moved by Councillor Sturgeon, seconded by Councillor Toll. Question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. And then the second motion would be to proceed to second reading and title only of bylaw 6126, a rural plan for the village of Grand Manan.
I would move that we do second reading of bylaw 6126, the rural plan for the village of Grand Manan, by title only at this time.
You heard the motion from Councillor Green. Do we have a seconder?
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Sturgeon. Question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. So, Xander, you will provide us with a notice to post on the website.
Yep.
Yep.
And it has to be up there for, I'm just looking at the Local Governance Act now, it's section 15, just for your reference. And it's 14 days between when the notice goes up and when you can do third reading. So I'll get that ready for you tomorrow, and I will come back to the next, you can just do it at probably your next regular council meeting would be fine.
That sounds perfect. Okay, anything else?
Great.
Anything else for Xander before we let him go? Thank you again, Xander, for
You're welcome.
logging on, doing the presentation. Hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you folks later.
Talk to you
Right.
later. Bye.
Xander?
Okay. Did I skip the 10-minute open session? I think I did because I knew they were here for the presentation, and sorry, Arlene, did you want to? Okay. Sorry about that. All right, item number 13 is correspondence for World Performers Day. There is a letter and a donation request, and I'm just going to find that on here. Hang on just a sec. And I'm gonna make it bigger because apparently my eyesight is really bad this evening. I got it. But thanks.
Madam
Yeah. Yes,
I'm wondering if we shouldn't swap that in 14,
okay.
because 14 deals with the amount.
Yep.
Good suggestion. So would that be a motion to move correspondence to after new business?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Heard the motion. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Deputy Mayor Greenlaw. Question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Motion carried. I feel like we're moving things around a lot tonight. Okay. Up first is the Dan can rejoin the meeting. 14.1 is the village donation application, and we have talked about doing this for a while. I don't know if somebody else wants to speak to this, or anybody can speak to this as well as I can. We talked about it briefly at Committee of the Whole meeting a couple weeks ago. The recommendation, I think, for discussion tonight was that we look to increase the donation to $500 from $200. That it be $500 per group or organization, and that we look at funding 50% of the project costs, so that we're not the sole funder, but it would also allow us to not go through our allocated budget amount quite so quickly, but still maybe provide a little bit more contribution than what we've been able to do in the past, I think was the rationale. So I think I've characterized that. Does anybody else want to chime in there? Councillor Sturgeon?
Madam Mayor, that's exactly how I recall it, and the consensus of council was at that time. And in saying that, I would like to make a motion to that effect.
You heard the motion from Councillor Sturgeon. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Boyd. Question?
I also have a question.
Question.
So, I'm clear, 500, from 200 to 500, or 50% of the cost up to 500?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yeah?
So does that mean when they come in to get 6 applications for different basketball teams, it's just $500 for basketball?
Yeah, that's the intent. Yep. Yep. Any other questions? All those in favor? Contrary-minded? Motion carried. 14.2 is speed limit review. So there was correspondence that we were CC'd. Oh, we want to go back to do correspondence right now? Yep. We'll just swap them? Perfect. All right. Okay. No, let's not forget. You're good. So, World Performance Day. So we have received a letter for, I'm going to say the name wrong, for Braylon to attend a World Dance Competition in Dublin, Ireland. It's in July 2026. And she'll represent Canada alongside 50 to 60 other nations and share the stage with over 10,000 competitors worldwide. Each dancer must raise funds personally to participate in the initiative, and so they're looking for funding. And that would go directly to the dancer, not to the organization, but the organization has sent the letter to provide backing for the requirements. So, questions and comments from around the table? Yeah, absolutely.
So, for those of you that might be unfamiliar with that, so my daughter has been involved with the Grand Manan Dance Academy since its inception here on the island, and this is a pretty big deal for Braylon to get selected first round in November to represent Canada in Dublin, Ireland. I think it's a pretty big deal. I've always been, and I've always said, and I think for most people around the council, we've always said, like, we pay to help the kids play. So I have, like, this is like, and she's gotta travel between Moncton and Halifax to train with her teammates. She's gotta make a trip to Ontario and all the stuff leading up to this. So there is a lot of cost to dance. It is a lot. Like, Lily, for example, is involved in, she has 2 solos, 2 duos, and 2 teams. And so she has to have a different outfit for each of those dances, the travel, the cost. Like, it's a lot. It's substantial. You know, we're fortunate that we can handle it pretty well, and we just kind of consider it as part of our time off, as most sports families seem to. So this is a big deal, and it would be great to see her get there. And I certainly am strongly in favor of at least doing what our now minimum is $500 donation for that. So I guess I'd make that motion right now.
Heard the motion from Councillor Boyd. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Toll. Question?
The only other question I've got on that, and it's for staff. This isn't technically our donation form fill out. Do they need to come in and fill that out, or do you want to just say it's enough? It's totally up to you guys.
We don't enforce that, like, they use this,
Yeah.
exactly.
Sure. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
If someone does something like this, we don't,
You don't bother bringing out the other form.
yeah, it's nicer.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, speed limit review. So we were CC'd on some correspondence about rate of speed for people traveling on King Street, and there was a request that had gone into DTI about the speed limit there. And the response back was that the village, with an traffic engineer, can determine the speed on any road on Grand Manan, which you can see I verified by email just to make sure, because that was different information than what we had been told previously. So the areas that we had talked about that I can remember were on Route 776, essentially between Grand Harbor and Woodward's Cove. We talked about on Route 776 from the end of the current 50 down to the Miller's Pond Road to extend that a little bit further, and then King Street, which is what had triggered the request in the first place. I don't know if there's other areas, but I think it's worth, if this is something we can do. I mean, we certainly have seen a growth of housing developments on some areas that filled in that were traditionally sparsely populated, and those are a couple of areas that have kind of jumped out as there's a lot more families, a lot of people on the side of the walking on the road, and it would be beneficial to maybe look at the speed limit in those areas. So I'm just putting that out there for discussion. I'm wondering what the will of the group is. Questions or comments? Councillor Green, Councillor Boyd.
The first one you mentioned between Woodward's Cove and Grand Harbor, didn't we have DOTI do that like 3 years ago? And did they, I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot change in traffic around here, has there? And, no, I mean, if we're gonna,
No.
we're gonna be paying for it now, right? So if that hasn't changed, do we really need to do that one, is the question.
When I looked back in the correspondence, part of it was around changing it from a passing lane out here to a solid line versus changing the speed limit. So I'm not sure they actually assessed the speed limit. Because I went back through my correspondence from what I could find from a few from that time period, and there was nothing around that. But I had Councillor Boyd and then Councillor Sturgeon.
I would like to see the Hill Road added to that.
Councillor Sturgeon?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I seem to recall the same as yourself in the correspondence and along that line. And also as well, it's not just speed limits, as you mentioned before, the passing lane out here was called in question at one time. And there's a passing lane in Castalia just before the store there, when you're hitting there, and it's, for the life of me, I can't understand why it's there, because it's not very long, and there's not really much chance to pass there, and I would like for that to be kind of looked at as well, because it's, like I said, it baffles me why it's there, because it's not in a very safe spot, but I'm not an engineer.
Any other questions or comments?
I just have a question about what this page is, that local government kilometer trade, whatever it is that our traffic volume, and is that how you adjust the speed limits, is what the volume is on each section of the road? Or what does this all mean? Nobody knows?
I'm not a traffic engineer.
Yeah,
so
but, yeah, but I'd be interesting to find out what those numbers meant. I don't know. Cause I think that's what indicates what your speed limit is by the Hama. And I remember when they had those wires going across in front of Save Easy, sorry, and they were doing that to count traffic for speed limits up there and stuff too. So how much would it cost to have an engineer to do that?
Well, that's what my suggestion would be to seek some quotes and see what the cost is. And, I mean, maybe the cost means it's prohibitive for us to look at it, but yeah, at least it gives us a basis to start the conversation. Councillor Sturgeon and then Councillor Green.
Okay. Madam Mayor, may I also humbly recommend that we meet with the traffic engineer, so he has a general idea of what we're talking about, and just also too as well to answer different questions about how this stuff all works.
Councillor Green?
You mentioned the ones up by they had the cameras up and counters here just last year. It'd be interesting if they would share that data. I mean, if it's that fresh, it wouldn't be much different than what we're dealing with today. It might save us some time and effort.
Okay. Anyone else? So I guess my question is, do we want to proceed with getting quotes or get the information from DTI for the traffic, what they had as far as traffic first, or what is the wishes of the group? Councillor Boyd.
I think it doesn't hurt to do both.
Okay. Are we okay with seeking some quotes?
Yep.
Okay. With the additional places that we've talked about here tonight, Hill Road, and then up between Wooders Cove and Castalia on Route 776 as well.
And just for clarification also,
Yep.
Madam Mayor, that we have a chance to meet with this individual as well.
Yep, for sure. Okay. Anything else on that one?
Need a motion to that effect, Madam Mayor?
We're just getting quotes. We're not spending money at this point. I think we should be okay. 14.3 is the March meeting. Traditionally, the last few years, we have moved the March meeting to February just to avoid the March break if anybody's in school, particularly staff who have younger children and are looking at that week off. So I'd like to suggest our next regular meeting would be February 23rd. That was big eyes I got over on that side of the table with that. Are we okay with doing, it's March 2nd to the 6th. March 2nd to the 6th. All right. So I'm not hearing objections, so we'll proceed with that as we've been doing. And 14.4 is the capital renewal plan, a resolution to approve the 26-29 document. CEO Rayner to discuss.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My apologies that you don't all have this printed in front of you. My intention was on Friday when the draft, when the agenda packages come out, to have this included in the package, but unfortunately, with many of you who know the frustrations we've had in the past with our former gas tax fund, this is kind of a carbon copy to that. So what I had emailed out to everyone late this afternoon is about version 6 of this proposed plan. It's been frustrating to say the least. Everything that we had proposed got turned down or amended to a point where the plan didn't make sense. So what we have here in front of us is, I guess, the best we could come up with what we had. So basically, this plan was new this year. It was late 2025 when this came out, and it's kind of to replace the old, what is it? Unconditional grant, right. So, the next 5 years, we have roughly $900,000 to spend on projects with very specific needs. It's all about renewing capital assets. So what we have proposed is, I have 6 projects listed. The first project is a Zamboni for the arena. And this literally come up late last week, leading up to the Legends game, which was a huge event for the community. The Zamboni wouldn't work. And I thought, what are we gonna do? We have this, they've spent huge amounts of money bringing them here and everything, and we don't have a Zamboni. So I immediately called to find out what a replacement cost for the machine would be. And the Zamboni that we have, we purchased used in 2011, and it was 20 years old when we bought it then. And we've had it for over 15 years. So we've put some money in for that. The second project would be the replacement of the washrooms at Victoria Park. For those of you that know, the washrooms at Victoria Park have been closed for, I think, 2 years now because of the conditions. So we're proposing to do all new accessible washrooms there. The third project is an upgrade to the transfer station. I was hoping we were gonna be able to do some of the proposed changes that we've been talking about the last little bit with trying to divert traffic around the building, get the yard paved, and start being able to separate where the C&D and the metal and everything goes. But unfortunately, that didn't meet the criteria for the plan. So we've been restricted to doing some renovations to the buildings, which, for those of you that have seen the office and the washroom currently over at the transfer station and the retention center, it's very much needed. We have also put in the possibility of the retrofit of the community pool. But all this hinges on the federal government coming out with a renewal of either the bilateral agreement with the province, which in the past has been thirds, like the feds have done third, province has done third, and municipalities done third. So we've kind of earmarked money there potentially for the municipality's third, hinging on the fact that we get the remaining 66% from the feds and the province. The repairs to the walk-in floor trailer that's currently sitting in Moncton right now, having the floor fixed, we hope. And the last project was the repairs to the footbridge leading out to Swallowtail. That's in dire need of some repairs with the handrail and the decking. So tourism is one of the things that we can apply for, so we've put money aside for that as well. So those are the 6 projects that we have proposed. This can be changed or amended at any time, but in order for us to start receiving our first payment before the end of February, we had to have a plan approved. So if everyone's okay with what you've heard me tell you, without actually seeing it, unless you go on your email, we'd be looking for the resolution tonight to approve the 2026-2029 capital renewal plan as presented.
Questions or comments for the CAO? Councillor Boyd?
So if we don't approve a plan before the end of this month, we're leaving money on the table, or is that what I'm understanding?
We will not receive our first payment.
Other questions or comments? Councillor
So
Toll?
you said if this is approved, we can still change something on it, or?
This can be amended at any time. It's like the gas tax fund or the CCBF, which is called now. It can, yeah, it can be changed. It's got to be approved by council. It's got to be approved by the province first, then approved by council.
Councillor Turner?
Yeah, so basically we need to, it needs to be it resolved that the document, the Village of Grayman and 2026-2029 capital renewal plan for the capital renewal fund allocation be adopted.
So I move that the document entitled the Capital Renewal Plan 2026 to 2029 for the Village of Grayman for the capital renewal funding allocation be adopted.
You heard the motion from Councillor Turner. Do we have a seconder?
I will second.
Seconded by Councillor Toll. Question? All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. I would say thank you to the staff for putting that together, because I know when I was in on Friday and then again today, there was still a lot of things that were up in the air about what would fit in within the parameters of the plan, so. All right, 14.5 is PAC. We have two people whose terms are up, and they are ironically the two that we just nominated to PAC in the last couple months, Tam Greenlee and Andrew Jones. I think they both have been there for less than 6 months, and I think are both willing to continue. So it would be a renewal of their term until 2029, if that's the wishes of the group. Councillor Sturgeon?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to renew the terms for Tam Greenlee and Aaron Jones for the PAC.
Heard the motion from Councillor Sturgeon. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Turner. Question? All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. So that brings us to 17.1, which I will.
All right, we're looking for approval to pay the following invoices from the General Operating Fund. We have Morse Fisheries Limited for the DTI tractor mower for $1,600. Sullivan Sales and Service, DTI for the Ford 550, $3,044.95. Sullivan Sales and Service for DTI for the 2024 Chevrolet for $4,412.55. Emerge for year-end, $3,335. And the Island Home Hardware Statement for $2,677.43. You heard the motion by Councillor Turner. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second.
Seconded by Counselor Toll. All those in favor?
Question.
Oh, questions?
I have a question. Two, what work was done on the F-550 and the 2024 Chev, and do we not have warranty on either of those anymore? It doesn't
I'll
seem
put
like
that
that long ago.
Most of that, I think, was plow work. We had all new plow steel, plow, the hoses. We put in an additional hoist on for the lift. That was the 2024. Not sure what was done to that 550.
So it's, okay, so it's not actual vehicle, it's the, okay, all right, nope, that's good, thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
$17.2 from the general capital fund. It is metal fab for a new fire truck for $587,934.70. Heard the motion from Deputy Mayor Greenlad. Do we have a seconder?
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Boyd. Question? Councillor Sturgeon, then Councillor Green, sorry. One or the other.
You probably same question as I have. It's not the number I have set before me, so I'm kind of curious what the additionals are, I guess. Because I
What?
have 524,000.
Oh, that's the transfer down below.
Okay, all right, very good. Sorry.
Those are pre-tax.
Yep,
Yep.
thank you.
Okay.
Not
Councillor
paying
Green,
attention.
that was not your question.
I'm just curious, I probably could have figured this out myself, went back to see what we paid for the chassis. How did that come in as what they quoted, or just a little bit over, a little bit under?
No, that's exactly what they quoted.
Is it-
Minus the 200,000 that we put down for the chassis.
You know, well, if that's living up to their quote in these tough times, the way the prices are jumping, that's pretty good. The only condition I think we should put on that check shouldn't be, the truck is coming Wednesday. After it's delivered and accepted, that we shouldn't pay it tomorrow. We should wait until, I mean, they might write it off coming down the highway or something, who knows? But we don't want to put the check in the mail until we have the truck, in my opinion. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
The fire department had gone through the checklist and at the last minute had made a few changes, plus or minus, but at the end of the day, it worked out exactly what they thought, so.
Anyone else? All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. 18.1 is a transfer, so we're looking for a motion to transfer $524,995.60 from the fire truck line of credit to the general capital fund. You heard the motion from Councillor Boyd. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Green. Question? All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. We're going to close session for the two additions to the agenda. The first was a financial for land for public purpose, and the second was the garbage trailer also for financial.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Heard the motion from Deputy Mayor Greenlaw. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second.
Second by Councillor Toll. Question? All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. I'll recall this regular council meeting to order. We were in closed session for two items. The first was a financial issue around land for public purchase, and we are going to follow up with the RSC on how the procedure has worked and how we're going to do that going forward before we make a decision. And then the second item was around the use of a garbage trailer.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we enter into a 60-month lease for a dump trailer at $1,634.60 plus HST.
Heard the motion from Councillor Sturgeon. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Turner. Question? All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. Our next regular council meeting will be on February 23rd, 7:30 PM.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.